Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs of society. You are always welcome here. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me as my co-host is the patriot from the Commonwealth of California, and that is Ann Elizabeth. Ann, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thank you.
So, Ann, what's on your radar screen this day, my friend?
Well, Biden regret is a real thing. It's one of the most popular Google searches at the moment, and it was one of the most popular Twitter searches as well. And if you search it on Twitter, you'll find person after person after person who says, I wish I didn't vote for Biden. This is not what we wanted. We see Black Lives Matter actually publicly coming out saying this is not the guy. Certain, not as a whole, but certain chapters, I guess, or certain, pages of Black Lives Matter. Antifa has publicly denounced Biden. So even their own extreme groups that supported him are jumping ship, and so are many people who voted for him. And Biden regret is one of the most popular things that we see right now happening. So many people just have buyer's remorse.
Well, I hope that buyer's remorse, I do believe you're right, and I do believe that buyer's remorse is probably going to build over the next 2 years. And I thought before, and I'm thinking now, and I'll probably think more about it in the future, that this is going to bode very badly for Democrats the 2022 midterms. I think that there is going to be a slaughter in the House of Representatives of Democrats. I think that Democrats, even though there are more Republican seats in the Senate up in 2022 than Democrat seats, I think that this is going to bode badly for the Democrats in the Senate. I know another thing you want to talk about is the executive orders, and Elizabeth, and when you look at these executive orders that Joe Biden is coming out with, I think it's going to be crushing to the gas and oil industry. I think it's going to be crushing to the economy.
It already has been.
I think it's going to have a huge inflationary effect to our economy.
Absolutely. He's signed 3 times the amount of executive orders in his first week than President Trump, President Obama in his 2 years, and President Bush in his 2 terms, and President Bush in his 2 terms. All 3 combined, he's signed 3 times as many of them. So that's how many executive orders he has signed so far. It's a complete, ridiculous, off the chart amount of executive orders for less than a week of being there, or just about a week of being there. So there's that. That's crazy.
And these are just executive orders. These are not being bills introduced into Congress.
No, these are executive orders.
I think that there are a couple of bills that are going to be considered by Congress that are going to be even more destructive. One is packing of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's not
I think that
this get rid of the filibuster.
This is going to be a very, very unpopular move. I think another very unpopular move is going to be admitting D.C. and Puerto Rico as states. Now, especially admitting
or emitting?
Bringing them in as states, admitting them as states. I think that this is opening up a whole new can of worms, because this is going to give Democrats 4 more seats in the Senate and about 7 to 9 more seats in the House of Representatives, putting a Democrat control total Democrat.
Well, this is just going to open the door for other opportunities for Republicans, like secession, which you've talked about so many times. There's so many people that already want to leave the Union. So if we're going to start moving states around, then they better be prepared for states to move.
Well, that very well could be. You know, there is one legislator down in Texas who has introduced articles of secession. And I don't know. Could other states potentially be doing the same thing? You know, we talked about the 2022 midterm elections. Apparently, Kevin McCarthy has been meeting with Donald Trump. You want to talk about that?
I do. Donald Trump has agreed to help Kevin McCarthy get Republicans elected. And this should be very exciting because, number one, the 2022 elections for Republicans are going to be huge. I mean, they're going to blow it out of the water just because everyone's really upset about what happened. And Biden's already abusing his power, and so is Nancy Pelosi, and so are the Democrats, and they're a party crumbling. And everyone who's helping them is going to, it's a house of cards waiting to fall. So this is going to be an easy win for people now that Trump's behind it. It's just going to bring everyone who loves him so much right behind the movement. And so I think 2022 is going to be a big year for Republicans.
Well, it'll be a big year.
Republicans especially.
Depending upon what happens. And I agree. I think that there is a potential for a slaughter of Democrats, especially in the House of Representatives. As I said, however.
Can I say something?
Sure.
This is all barring the fact that we don't have a fair election system. So
well, I just going to bring that up.
I have to say that. So,
yeah, I was going to bring, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. And in fact, that Democrat lawmakers have introduced a bill dubbed the Vote at Home Act, which seeks to massively expand vote at home ballot access, accentuating automatic voter registration and providing voters with prepaid ballot envelopes. The incentive stands to contrast a bill introduced by Republicans several weeks ago, which seeks to tighten voter registration verifications and narrows rules for when and how mail-in ballots can be accepted. Democrat lawmakers said in introducing the bill was encouraged by what they described as the successful expansion of voting at home by mail in the November 2020 election, in which almost 50% of the voters cast ballots by mail, a record high in federal races. You know what, Ann?
If fraudulent ballots
the other day, well, let me say this. Just the other day, the wife and I got 2 Christmas cards. Just the other day, we got 2 Christmas cards that were mailed from Florida a week before Christmas. Okay? And here they want to expand this crazy idea of a mail-in ballot.
Well, there's 2 points to that. So, number one, there is no security whatsoever in terms of voting through the USPS. They have no protocols in place to keep our votes secure. None whatsoever. I mean, these are people that, they just hire. They aren't checked. They don't go through a voter program to be official voting, and anything to do with voting. It's not a secure way to vote. Hands down. You are at the mercy of whoever picks up the mail. So,
you know what the solution to it is?
Yeah, don't do mail-in votes.
Well, that's one solution, but you know what?
No
when you have
pandemic,
Democrats
right?
in control of Congress for the next 2 years, nothing is going to change. If not, mail-in balloting or mail-in vote is becoming, with this act, if this act gets passed, if this passes the House, the Senate, and is signed by Biden, it's the law of the land. I'll tell you what'll stop it, Ann. And the only thing I see that'll stop it is Republicans have got to get into this game. And not only get into this game, they've got to become better at it than the Democrats, because then the Democrats will demand an end to it. When they no longer have an advantage, when they no longer have the advantage of it, then they will demand an end to mail-in ballots. They will demand
that with ballot harvesting.
They will demand an end to ballot harvesting. They will demand an end to motor voter. That's the only thing. Republicans have got to get into the game.
Yeah. Well, we saw that happen with ballot harvesting when Republicans got into the game and gave the Democrats a run for their money for exactly what they liked ballot harvesting for the 2 years prior. But California has been called the beta state, where they test everything. And so what we see happening is California is a very red state with red voters, but they have a supermajority that they have, changed the rules. Once the California had a Democratic everything, from Congress to Assembly to, the whole entire government seemed to be primarily Democrat governor. They became a supermajority because they changed rules to keep themselves in office, and that is through ballot harvesting. That's through gerrymandering. When they changed the districts to include a blue area to make sure they. So now what we see happening is on a national level. We're seeing all these things. So what they're going to do is create a way to just keep it blue all the time, and there is no need for mail-in ballots. We have.
No, there is no need for it, but as long as Democrats are controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House for the next 2 years, this is what they're going to push. And again, in my opinion, the only way to stop it is Republicans got to get into this game and get better at it than the Democrats. Hey, and we do have to take a break, and on the other side, we'll talk about our guests for today, and you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. We'll be right back and tell you who our guests are.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Ann Elizabeth. And, the hallmark of our show is our terrific guests. And if you'd like to recommend somebody that you believe we should interview here on Conservative Commandos, maybe you yourself, you want to be a guest, it's easy to do. Just send an email to me at auntv@yahoo.com. auntv@yahoo.com. I love hearing from you, so keep those emails coming. Well, we've got two great guests that are joining us here today on Conservative Commandos. Returning guest, Bryan Preston. He is a deputy editing manager at PJ Media, and he's going to be talking about a couple of things. Despite having more COVID cases after shutting down than before, Governor Newsom is dropping California's stay-at-home order, and he's also going to be talking about how Biden has become the unity president and is actually unifying Democrats, Republicans, and industry leaders despising his executive orders. So that'll be Bryan Preston. And then we have Melissa Henson. She's the Parents Television Council Program Director. She's going to be talking with us about the troubling pandemic in viewing trends of her children. And I'm sure want to get Ann Elizabeth in on this conversation. I know I'm the expert at raising kids because I don't have any, but Ann has 4. So we'll get her opinion as well as Melissa's on the viewing habits of kids, especially during this pandemic. So, Ann, something I wanted to talk about, something I did want to get to. Let me find it here in this massive paper. Okay. It's fun to watch liberals when they eat their own. Okay. And liberals on Twitter. Liberals on Twitter.
Are you getting part of Q now? Are you part of Q?
Yes. Liberals on Twitter erupted in anger Thursday when they were trolled by a fake account that attributed a quote from Maxine Waters that seemed to tear into Governor Andrew Cuomo over reported cases of COVID deaths in his states. There's just one problem. Waters' words were from 2018 and were aimed at then-President Donald Trump. The Twitter account, Cuomo Watch, altered Waters' quotes and made them appear to address Cuomo's actions. Quote, the Attorney General of New York released a report that stated Cuomo administration had unreported by as much as 50% the number of deaths in nursing homes due to the pandemic. The tweet went viral with almost instant reaction coming from the Democrats. However, this is what Maxine Waters said, not about Andrew Cuomo, but about Donald Trump. And the reaction, like from the New York attorney, the New York lieutenant governor, she fell for hook, line, and sinker, saying, this is encouraging violence against public officials. Plain and simple. Absolutely disgusting. No tolerance for this. Haven't we learned the lessons from Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago? Reacting to something that Maxine Waters said about Donald Trump, not Andrew Cuomo.
But then it was okay.
It was made to look like it was directed towards Cuomo. Horrible, horrible, horrible. New York State Senator Jamal Bailey also was incensed over the tweet. Quoting him, "This is more than tone deaf, especially considering what's happened in recent days. This is unacceptable and ridiculous. Read the room. Notice the common theme here is the Capitol riot." Again, he was reacting to what Maxine Waters said about Donald Trump. Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage when Maxine Waters said this about Donald Trump? There was none. There absolutely was none.
It's just really fun pointing out the hypocrisy.
It is.
And it never makes the headlines, unfortunately.
Well, that's why the Conservative Commandos radio show is important. That's why AUN television is important. Because we bring you these stories the alphabet media will not talk about. You know, Maxine Waters, she was the one who said, oh, don't you remember, Ann, when she said, oh, if you see a member of Trump's cabinet in a restaurant, in the movies, make a scene.
Get in their face.
Remember that? Get in their faces. Make a scene. Build a crowd. She said all that.
You don't let them get away with it. Basically, I mean, she's very insightful for violence.
If I would say, if you see a member of the Biden cabinet in Washington D.C.,
you imagine?
Boo them. Hiss them.
You imagine?
Create a scene.
Imagine if you said, "Get in their face." Oh
Get
my
in
gosh.
their face.
The FBI would be at your door. You'd have your whole house raided.
I had to check to make sure the doorbell wasn't ringing right now. Because you're right. You're right. But it's okay. It's okay when the liberals say this. But a conservative cannot use the exact words against them.
It shows the corrupt power that they have right now. I mean, it is corruption. The FBI, and I think we talked about this, the FBI, the CIA, and the top government are working together, and they're running it right now. I mean, it's
well, I think it's, during the Obama administration, it's widely reported now how he weaponized the FBI, the CIA, and the IRS to go after conservatives and conservative groups. That's why Dinesh D'Souza went to jail. He was made a target of the Justice Department. He was made a target by Eric Holder. All right? What Dinesh D'Souza done is done by Democrats ad nauseum at all times. And what he did was he gave money to individuals. Those individuals then took that money and donated it to Republican campaigns, which is a violation of the federal laws, okay? But it's done all the time in Democrat circles. But because Dinesh D'Souza did it,
well, we're not allowed to pay attention to what they do.
It became a target.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I do believe, unfortunately, or what I believe unfortunately is going to happen in the Biden administration is the same thing that happened in the Obama administration. I think once again, they're going to use all those alphabet agencies, the DOJ, Department of Justice, the FBI, the IRS, the CIA, to target conservatives and to conservative groups. I know during the Obama administration how many times I was targeted by the IRS in the forms of tax audits. Funny, 70 years old, I was never audited. Before the Obama administration, I started something called Conservative Commandos. Guess what? I become a target. My taxes were audited. Every other year, they were audited during the Obama administration. I think the same. Yeah. I'm preparing for the same thing to happen in the Biden administration.
Yeah, we've definitely chosen a tough party to be a part of. I mean, you would think the party of patriotism would be easy, but it's anything but, because we're fighting against communism, socialism, complete totalitarianism. I mean, it's disgusting. Fascism. mean, you name the ism, we're fighting it. And unfortunately, they're in control, so they can bully us. And, I have numerous friends who are getting, their houses raided or getting arrested by the FBI or,
Well, we won't go into a name.
We won't
go into names. But when Ann Elizabeth says she has friends that have become targets, that have had their homes invaded, she's not exaggerating.
No,
we won't go into names, but it's actually happening. Maybe we'll go into the names at some time in the future. Hey, Ann Elizabeth, we have to take a break and get our guest on, but you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Bryan Preston is going to be joining us. He's the Deputy Managing Editor of PJ Media, and we're going to be talking about, despite having more COVID cases after the shutdown began than before, Governor Newsom drops California's stay-at-home orders. Kind of a little bit of hypocrisy there, don't you think? Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and 0 deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
And once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. And if you'd like to hear rebroadcasts of either our TV show or our radio show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Our first guest of the day is Bryan Preston. He's served as the Chief of Staff to the Texas Railroad Commissioner. The Texas Railroad Commission regulates the oil and gas production in the Lone Star State. which is the nation's top energy producing state. He's the author of Hubble's Revelations, the amazing time machine and its most important discoveries. He's a producer, a veteran, an author, and a very proud Texan. And Bryan, it's great to see you again, and welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me on. It's really good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you back. Great to see you again. It's been a while, my friend. It's been a while. But we're so grateful to have you back. And Bryan, we've asked you to join us to talk about a couple of the articles that you have written for PJ Media. The first is, despite having more COVID cases after shutting down than before, Governor Newsom is dropping the California stay-at-home order. Bryan, you know, one of the things I talked about here on the Conservative Commandos radio show since last March, since this Wuhan flu epidemic, since the shutdown, I was saying in jest, but maybe it wasn't in jest, that it would end the day after Donald Trump left the White House, be it in 2021 or 2025. And what's your take?
Well, that does seem to be happening. You don't want to say things are political, but they sure look political in this case. And Newsom's record on this has been pretty dreadful. California's cases have skyrocketed, whether they've had lockdowns going on or not. And Newsom is facing recall for a number of issues, this being one of them. And he was caught violating his own order when he went to that French Laundry restaurant, which a meal there costs more than most people's house payments. And I forgot, he was also having dinner there with one of his lobbyist pals. So it's not like he was, just out having some family outing that we just had to have or something. It was, he's hanging out with lobbyists. So Newsom's record is pretty terrible. And in this case, now that Donald Trump has left the White House and Joe Biden is in there, Newsom suddenly decides to lift this stay-at-home order. And as a lot of folks pointed out, myself and Carol Markowitz at the New York Post and others pointed out, the case numbers in California don't justify this choice. Now, I would say that they didn't justify the lockdowns either. The lockdowns don't work. The lockdowns have created more stress on folks who didn't have COVID and who haven't had it yet. We've seen suicides go up. We've seen business closures go up. Families are really taking a beating because of these lockdowns. So I would say the lockdowns weren't justified. But if they were, if you assume that they were, then how do you justify lifting them when you have more cases than you had when you imposed them? That would seem to indicate that there's something else at work besides just the case numbers and the science.
Well, Bryan, I think you hit the nail right on the head. The fact that, as you describe him, the bad orange man, Donald Trump, is no longer the president. Also, the recall petition. This shutdown, not just in California, but across the country, is having a very devastating effect on our economy.
Yep.
And it's a shame Ann Elizabeth isn't with us. She had a family emergency she had to tend with. But I guess the same thing is happening in California. And as you described, there is a very aggressive recall petition going around. There are only a couple 100,000 signatures away. We've had people from that recall petition join us here in Conservative Commandos radio show. Governor Newsom's got to be feeling the heat.
He's got to be feeling the heat. It's very interesting because California and New York, mostly California, observing it from Texas, it's quite interesting because the high officials there display an arrogance no matter what their policies do, no matter what the policy outcomes are, as though they know they're in a one-party state and they can't lose. Once they get into the machine, once they are one of the favored folks inside the party, they seem to behave like they can't lose no matter what they do. But recall does provide the citizens of the state a way to voice their displeasure and perhaps even pull out a bad actor. And it happened, 2003 with Gray Davis? So yes. It has happened within living memory that a governor of California was recalled because of terrible performance in office. In that case, I think it was the driver's license for illegal immigrants that was the big issue. And just Gray Davis's general unpopularity. And I think there were some power issues, electricity, the grid issues, stuff like that were going on. In this case, you have a governor who has I mean, the guy looks like he's the spokesmodel for, one of these men's magazines or something. But his performance in office has been quite abysmal, extremely partisan and terrible. And it's very entertaining from Texas over here to watch all of this play out because, there have been suggestions over the past couple of years that Newsom might be a Democrat presidential contender, that Andrew Cuomo might be a Democrat presidential contender, Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan might be a presidential contender for the Democrats. All of them are behaving terribly and performing terribly in office. Cuomo has been found out for this nursing home scandal that he undercounted by 50%, apparently, according to the New York Times. Whitmer has destroyed the economy in Michigan and really behaved capriciously and arbitrarily in her choices. And Newsom just looks awful. He just looks awful. Every position he's taking right now looks political when he should, as a leader, an elected leader, be dealing with a pandemic on the scientific basis.
Brian, you still think, as Bill Clinton taught us, it's the economy's stupid? You still think that plays in the election? And I thought that way until after this past election, where Donald Trump, a president that gave us the greatest economy in the history of the world, bar none, was you could say he was defeated. I think it was voter fraud that brought him down. But is it still the economy stupid? Do the people in the country still look at their pocketbook and their wallet? If it's empty, it's bad. If it's full, it's good. If it's empty, they're going to vote the incumbents out. If it's full, the incumbents have a better chance of staying in.
That's a really good question, and it's one I've pondered off and on over the past year or so, and especially after the election. It used to be the economy's stupid. Clinton had that right. I didn't agree with him on much of anything else, but he was right about that. And people did tend to vote with their pocketbooks. We saw over the past 4 years, we did see a shift on that because Trump's popularity didn't really grow commensurate with the economic growth that we enjoyed. And a lot of folks, I think, have unmoored themselves from the economic concerns and the economic dimensions of political votes. And that's one of the things that's concerned me about California and New York in particular, because those two states are two of the most draconian when it comes to lockdowns. They are two of our largest states in terms not just of population, but economic output. And if you take those two states out of the nation's economy effectively by locking them down, if you clamp down their economies, you hurt the national economy. And in the past, voters would respond to that by saying, well, okay, these guys are costing me jobs. I'm voting them out. But I have seen a different dynamic. With Biden, for instance, first day in office, he eliminates 11,000 jobs by canceling the Keystone XL pipeline. And you could find anywhere average, regular people saying, yeah, this is a good thing because of the environment. Then you try to drill down to what they know about the actual pipeline and about its actual engineering and about the jobs that were lost, and they really don't know anything. And they're not connecting the fact that low energy prices, which are enabled by projects like the Keystone, actually make the entire economy perform better. They're not making those connections. So I think it's a really good question, and I think we'll see. I've actually been worried going into the next couple of years that if California and New York stay locked down like they are, the entire U.S. economy is going to drag down. China's economy is going to grow at a faster pace than ours, and they may overtake us sooner than anyone realizes as the largest economy in the world. That'll have grave impacts on everyone.
Hey, Brian, we're up against the break, but we're hoping that you can stay with us because you have written another article. It's kind of dovetailing into this article. Unity, Republicans, Democrats, and industry despise Biden's latest executive order. Could you hold on for us, please?
Sure can.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the Conservative Commandos radio network. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our guest, Bryan Preston.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And I want to give a shout out to folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas, Reno, and Sparks in Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Wine Country, Redding, also in Las Vegas, Nevada, and very soon in Carson City and in Reno. Bryan Preston is our guest. He's the deputy editor at PJ Media, and we're discussing a couple articles that he wrote. And Bryan, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Happy to, Rick. Good to be here.
Bryan, you wrote another article, Unity. How do you bring Democrats and Republicans in the industry together? Well, it's to despise Joe Biden's latest executive order.
Yeah.
So here you go. This man hasn't been in office about a week or so, and already he's bringing Democrats and Republicans together in a sense.
Yeah, against him.
Against
That's the
him.
part he probably didn't anticipate. You know, he gave that speech on Inauguration Day where he said he wanted to bring Americans together, Americans who disagree on politics, you know, Republicans and Democrats, and rural and urban and all of that. And then he proceeded, and is still proceeding over the course of his presidency, to not enact any actual legislation through Congress, which is what's supposed to happen. But he's putting out a flurry of executive orders. Even CNN, I think, stopped counting at around 30. And since then, that was on Tuesday, I think, he's issued several more. So, and before I get into this particular executive order, we should remember that Biden himself said that only dictators behave this way. And then he became one.
And when you talk about that, when you talk about him and his 30-plus executive orders, during the same time, first week, Donald Trump issued 4.
Correct. Yeah.
And so when he was talking about an imperial, when O'Biden, and I'm not mispronouncing because that's what I call him, O'Biden, when O'Biden talks about an executive presidency, referring to Donald Trump issuing 4 executive orders during his first week, as you point out, with O'Biden, it's 30 plus.
Yeah, and it was 17 on the first day by most counts. And I think some other counts had 19. But we'll go with 17. We'll go with the low number. It was still a high number, and one of those killed the 11,000 jobs I mentioned in the last section on Keystone. Another of these executive orders is targeting the fossil fuel industry and, you know, and scapegoating them, really, and carving out some tax issues for them. The executive order is going to direct agencies, the way it reads now. It's going to direct agencies to look at disposing of, getting rid of what are so-called fossil fuel subsidies. Now, yeah, I spent a couple of years on the regulatory side in Texas on fossil fuels. Texas is the nation's #1 producer. The agency I worked at regulates oil and gas production in Texas. And one of the things you learn when you're actually in the industry in some way, either on the production side or the regulatory side, subsidies for fossil fuel companies do not exist at the federal level. They simply don't. They don't exist at the state level either, actually. There are no subsidies. What they are tax write-offs that any business can write off as part of their operational costs and depreciation costs, depletion costs, things of that nature. So what Biden's actually doing is targeting fossil fuel producers and hoping to get rid of the same kind of write-offs that other businesses enjoy. That's not fair. It's an unfair targeting of an industry, and it has actually brought out Republicans to oppose it. Steve Scalise has come out opposing it. August Pfluger in Texas is going to come out opposing it. Tony Gonzalez here in Texas, 2 Republicans, are going to come out opposing it. And 4 Democrats from Texas have also come out opposing it. And I think you're probably going to hear from New Mexico Democrats who are going to come out and oppose this too. They already opposed one of the previous executive orders that Biden issued when he banned fracking on federal lands, not directly, but as directly as can be banned. He banned fracking on federal lands. That's going to crush New Mexico's public budget, in particular on education. So you're going to see more Democrats, but we've already seen Democrats come out and oppose this, including Henry Cuellar and 3 other Democrats who represent Texas in Congress.
Bryan, I think not only Texas, other oil-producing states and other states that are affected by oil, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Alaska, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, anywhere where you have oil and gas production, it's really going to hurt their economy. And, you know, when we talk about hurting the economy, let's call it what it is. It's hurting people. It's hurting families.
Yeah.
It's devastating families. And in this climate we are in, with the Wuhan flu, as I call it, and what that has done to the economy. A hit on gas energy production is a hit on America. Everything we buy, everything we use is affected by the price of oil, gas, and energy. And when you call it, and you're right about the subsidies, Bryan, but the subsidies for wind and solar, oh, that's a different story. And those industries do not exist if not for subsidies.
Yeah, they're not competitive at all without the federal, state, and in some cases local subsidies that prop them up. If the subsidies didn't exist, you would not see, the wind farms that we have out in West Texas, for instance. Now, since we're talking about energy production, let's drill down a little further. We're not just talking about hurting people generically. In New Mexico and Texas, and probably other states, but the states I know the best are New Mexico and Texas on this subject, oil and gas production directly benefits the state educational budgets. And it benefits the state educational budgets at the grade school levels, and in Texas, at least, at the university levels. Texas' two marquee universities, the University of Texas and Texas A&M, are both funded by an entity called the Public University, or the Permanent University Fund, or the PUF. That is the largest endowment for universities in the world on most days. It battles with Harvard for the top spot a lot of the time, and they'll usurp each other. But if you start impacting negatively the revenues coming from oil and gas production, you are going to you're going to very greatly harm the education budgets in these states. So if you start turning off the spigots, you're hurting kids. You're pulling textbooks out of their hands. You're taking teachers out of the classrooms. You're hurting the universities. You're doing great damage. And beyond even oil and gas production, one thing folks should understand is almost everything in your life, almost everything you use on a daily basis, your smartphone, your cameras, your tablets, your computers, there's petroleum in that product. You can't make plastics without petroleum. There's petroleum all through those products. So if you start turning the spigots off, not only are you making your fuels more expensive, a lot of the products you rely on that you enjoy every single day will no longer be made.
Bryan, you point out something that's also very scary in the article, John Kerry. The new green czar, John Kerry. Czar. I mean, and as you point out in your article, this is a man who made his fortune through marriage. Has never really had a job. Politics has always been his job. Spent his career in politics, has not held a true private sector job. May not realize that his cavalier take is not so viable. China heavily dominates the solar panel manufacturing company. So when you have people like Joe Biden, when you have people like John Kerry coming out and saying to these people that are going to lose their jobs in the gas and oil industry, well, you can go make solar panels. Well, I guess they got to move to China to do that, Bryan.
Right. That's where about 50 to 60% of solar panels made worldwide are made. And let's be clear about a couple of things here. If you're talking about the folks who worked on the Keystone XL, the skills they had for that job are not directly transferable to making solar panels anyway. So even if they found a company, say in Texas or California or wherever, that's making solar panels, they've got to be retrained. There's some period of time for that. If you are going to assume that they even want to do that, that's something that's in their interest. The second part of this is that China doesn't just have a lock on the solar panel industry. China has a lock on the lithium industry too, despite not having most of the lithium. They do have a large
so where are all these batteries going to come from, Bryan?
They're going to come from China. China is the only country on Earth. China is the only country on Earth that has the entire production chain for the rechargeable batteries that use lithium that most of these systems depend on, and that your smartphone and other things depend on. So John Kerry is treating Americans like ants, like widgets in a machine, and he is directly shipping jobs overseas to China, which is right now our #1 adversary and has rattled its saber at Taiwan 3 times since Biden's presidency began, and is not our friend.
Bryan Preston, great to see you again. I appreciate you joining us here today on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Bryan, please tell our audience how they could follow you, read your work, and the other great articles on PJ Media.
Thank you, Rick. My pleasure to be here. Find me at pjmedia.com. I'm all over that site most days.
All right. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Melissa Henson. She's the director at the Parents Television Council, talking about the troubling pandemic viewing trends. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest. Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, Rick. That was fun.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Take care. Have a good weekend.
You too. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. So you're going to hang up on me?
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. Melissa Henson is joining us. She's a director of the Parents Television Council. Melissa is a noted expert on entertainment industry trends and how the impact of entertainment affects children and the American culture at large. Melissa, welcome back to Conservative Commandos radio show. Great to have you with us.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Melissa, I'm going to ask Ann Elizabeth to pick up this conversation. It's a great article, The Troubling Pandemic Viewing Trends. Ann's an expert at this. She has 4 children. I have none. So, Ann Elizabeth, please pick up the conversation.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Well, thank you for joining us on Conservative Commando Radio. So you previously supervised the research and program content analysis operations of the PT and produced a number of groundbreaking PTC studies that document the levels of graphic sex, violence, and profanity on television. And some of these reports include the Ratings Sham, which you call it 1 and 2, Dying to Entertain, Faith in a Box, The Sour Family Hour, and the Blue Tube and TV Bloodbath. So you have quite an extensive background of research. And then you mentioned, first thing that you mentioned in this article that I'm reading is the first 10 months and counting, as you said, since folks were told to stay home and stop the spread of COVID. For most of these 10 months, activities outside of their homes, like team sports, after-school activities, clubs, or even just socializing with friends have been severely curtailed or halted altogether. And this complete upheaval of normal activity has been difficult for everyone, of course, but the impact on children has been especially profound. And I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, between, as I say, not being able to pursue any extracurricular activities. Most kids are also now being forced to do distance learning. So they're sitting in front of a TV screen. You know, the American Academy of Pediatrics used to say no more than 2 hours of TV a day. Well, or no more than 2 hours of screen time a day. And kids who are in school now, because of the pandemic, are spending 8+ hours a day in front of a screen. And that's just to get through the school day. And many times, there's additional homework, which has to be done on a computer now, done and submitted and turned in on a computer. A lot of activities like Scouts, for example, have moved on to Zoom as well. So even their extracurriculars, to the extent those are still happening, a lot of those are happening online. And so all of the traditional, conventional thinking about screen time has just sort of been blown out of the water.
Right. It sure has. And you just mentioned, I find 2 hours of screen time actually very liberal, but let me put this. You said for years pediatricians have been advised to limit kids on screen time. No screen time at all for ages 18 to 24 months, an hour or less for 2 to 5, 90 minutes or less, which I think these are huge numbers, for children aged 6 to 12, 2 hours or less for teens. I can probably see that one because teens spend a lot of time on their phone. Or 15 minutes of physical activity for every hour of screen time. Those seem like pretty liberal numbers. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, we are much more restrictive than that, or certainly we were much more restrictive than that before COVID. It might be 1 or 2 hours a week for us. And so this is a new normal for a lot of parents. A lot of parents are having to adjust to this. And they don't have an awful lot to say at this time, especially if they are, they're trying to work full time and they're not able to homeschool their kids, and they really have no option other than to participate in distance learning.
Yeah. And then you mentioned too that parents really relax. And I'm a parent. I have 4 kids. I'll tell you, I definitely have allowed my kids' screen time. Sometimes, I'm working, so it is a babysitter at times. Go play on your iPad. Mommy needs time. So, I mean, this just adds to it. But so what are the negative effects that people are so? Is it a time issue or is it more of a content issue?
It's both.
Or both.
It really is both.
Can you go into each one and how that's affecting people or kids?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, parentstv.org, and you look at our blog, you can find this full piece. And in there, we link to a couple of different stories. One was in the Washington Post. They provided some recommendations about viewing programs that you can watch with your family. And they have it broken down by different age groups. Well, one of the programs that they recommended is a new Netflix original series called Bridgerton. And this is sort of a Jane Austen-esque, Jane Austen era dramatic series. It's set in England during the early 18th century, but it contains very high levels of very explicit sexual content. And this is something that the Washington Post is now advising people to watch with their kids. If you look over at the New York Times, there was a similar article where the author was saying that, you know, in just a couple months, we burned through all of the available family programming, we played all the board games, we ran out of options, and so I decided to let my kids start watching a TVMA-rated program. And that's very concerning. That's very troubling, you know, that, yes, indeed, this is a trying time for everyone. These are difficult circumstances. We're all trying to adjust the best we can, but I don't think this is the right time to be lessening our standards about what kind of content our kids are being exposed to, especially when you consider how much more time kids are spending in front of a screen. This is a time to be more vigilant, not less.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that about the sexually explicit parts of shows that they're recommending kids watch. We see that as a trend in schools with the sexualization of content in textbooks. What do you think this is all about?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think there has been a concerted push, and it's become so much more obvious in the last year or so, where we're seeing kids being sexualized far more frequently and far more flagrantly than I can ever recall in my lifetime. You know, if you look over at just what's happening on Netflix alone, they had this movie that they imported from France called Cuties, about this troupe of girls ages 10, 11, 12, performing these highly eroticized dance routines. And these were child actors that they used in this movie. These weren't, you know, 20-year-old. It's not like Beverly Hills 90210 where you had people in their early 30s pretending to be high schoolers. These are actual young girls that were being paid to perform sexualized dance maneuvers on screen for the entertainment of adults. That's very concerning. They also have a series on Netflix called Big Mouth, which is an animated series. It's supposed to be an exploration of puberty. So the characters on this animated series are supposed to be 12, 13 years old. Again, very sexualized. And you have to ask, who is the target audience for a program like this? Is it adults? Because this is very adult content on this program. Are we really saying that we want to encourage adults to be viewing 12 and 13-year-olds as sexual beings, as sexually advanced as the characters on this program? I think that would be very alarming. Clearly not appropriate for kids to be watching, but this seems to be the trend. Is there's a lot of entertainment being produced, appears to be ostensibly about teenagers, but is being marketed to adult audiences, and it's clearly sexualizing kids.
What a shame. So what is your suggestion for times or as a mom, like what can I do? Because I leave my kids alone with their technology all the time. I often get worried of what they might stumble upon, but you know, we've kind of almost become numb to the idea of everything, just thinking, oh, I think they're going to probably be okay. So what do you suggest for parents?
Yeah. So we have certainly had our issues with the rating system in the past. Our concerns with the rating system, though, have been that the ratings are generally too lenient. So you will see what we consider mature content being rated as appropriate for teenage audiences. So the first thing I would recommend to parents is if you see that TVMA rating on there, take it seriously, because it's not a rating that is applied very frequently and it's not applied very liberally. So if it's there for good cause. It's there for a good reason. So pay attention to those ratings. Employ all the parental controls that are available to you. You know, Netflix has a 4-digit PIN code that you have to enter to watch content above. You can set the rating. You know, you can say anything rated TV 14 and above, I want restricted. So use those parental controls, sometimes even at the device level, like if you have an Apple TV device or I'm trying to remember what the Amazon Prime product is called, but you know, all these different devices that people are using to stream content, there are also parental controls available at the device level. So use all available parental controls. Sometimes you can even get filters where the internet comes into your home. So use those. Rely on services like VidAngel, for example, which filters out the objectionable content if you're out of options.
What is it called?
called VidAngel. So you
VidAngel. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to watch something that's on Netflix or Amazon Prime that has inappropriate content, if you use a service like VidAngel, you can filter out the harmful content.
Here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, we're speaking with Melissa Henson. She's the director of the Parents Television Council, and we're discussing troubling pandemic viewing trends. Melissa, we got to take a break. I'm hoping you could hold through the break. Want to pick it up on the other side.
Absolutely.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Don't go away. We'll be back with our guest right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, as well as Arlington, Virginia, and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, wine country, also in Las Vegas, Nevada, and very soon in Carson City and in Reno. Our guest this segment is Melissa Henson. She's the director of the Parents Television Council, and we're discussing an article she wrote, Troubling Pandemic Viewing Trends. Melissa, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time, and You know, Melissa, over the years, we've had some very interesting conversations, you and I, about troubling about television and the troubling trends in television. Wow, these trends are now on steroids, as you point out in your article, how much extra television kids are watching. And it's kind of a paradox for me to discuss this with you because, as you may know, I'm also the president and CEO of AUN Television. We have 9 broadcast TV stations in California. We've got a few more being set up in Nevada. We like to think, at least for adults, that we are a source for news and information. That's why we're asking you to be here on the show today. But with that being said, I can remember about 20 years ago reading an article talking about television as the plug-in drug, and that it could be as addictive as many substances. Wanted to get your views and opinions on that, especially now the kids are watching more and more television than ever.
Yeah, I think that's clearly the case, that it's addictive. In fact, I remember seeing an article, and they said that you can turn off the color on your iPhone, and just turning it to black and white instead of color makes it less addictive. You're less prone to look at your screen if it's black and white versus color. It's just the movement and the color. We are biologically hardwired to look at screens because it's I don't know if it's a primitive response to predators. You want to see where the movement is, you go to where the movement is, and it's on screens. And the way programmers program these days, if you look at TV shows from the 40s or 50s, there was one camera, and it was pretty much stationary. These days, it's quick cuts, quick cut, quick cut. And so they're training your brain to be responsive to quick action, quick changes of scene, very short scenes. It does contribute to a short attention span. I firmly believe that. But it also sort of trains your brain to be constantly looking for that stimulus. And so for kids, and I've seen this with the way some of the schools are having to adapt for distance learning, is they're trying to make the distance learning more fun by making it more like watching TV or more like playing a video game. They're gamifying education in order to keep the kids engaged. So they're not, bored to tears looking at a Zoom conference for 8 hours a day. So they're putting in YouTube videos, and they're playing these online quizzes and online tests to keep the kids' attention, because it's constantly flashing, constantly changing imagery on screen. It is so addictive, and that's a real, real danger.
Melissa, let's talk about the content that kids are viewing and how it affects their character. Yeah. And we can also add video games into this. Melissa, I do think what people see on TV, they act out. And also some of the acts of violence, there's no ramification. We see these violent TV shows, the shootouts, the murders, the stabbings, the beatings. And I would think for kids that are very impressionable, they think, no, this is how people act. Yeah. And that the content they're viewing actually contributes to their character. I think we've seen it in a lot of these mass shootings in schools, that one of the things that most of these kid killers have in common is video games, violent video games, violent TV. I know after watching a football game, I want to go out and knock over a tackling dummy. So let's talk about the content and the character. Suicide rates are up with kids, and there's shows out there that's even showing teenage suicide, saying it's normal. It's normal. Yeah. Go out and kill yourself. Be popular.
Television is a great normalizer, and by that I mean people tend to accept whatever they view on television as normative behavior. So you may remember, this is going back 25 years or more, when Friends first debuted. everybody, Rachel Aniston got her hair cut on that show, and millions of women went out and got the Rachel cut. Even adults are influenced by what they see on TV. They want to emulate. They want the lifestyle that they see on television. They want the clothing that they see on television. They want the houses that they see on television. Television makes everything look glamorous and glorious, and this is what you should want, and this is what you have the right to expect. Adults are susceptible to it. Kids are especially susceptible to it. So whatever kids see on television, to them, it's normal. It's normative behavior. If kids see people that look like them, people their own age who are sexually promiscuous on TV, they're going to walk away with the impression that this is normal and accepted behavior. This is what I need to do to fit in. This is what's expected of me. That's just human nature. Kids who are exposed to a lot of violence on television are far more likely, statistically, to behave violently. And there have been longitudinal studies that have shown that the effect is not only in the immediate short term, it's also in the long term. So they've done these studies where they found that people who consumed a lot of violent media as kids, well, they were more likely to have problems with the law when they got older.
Wow. You know, Melissa Henson, you and I go back quite a ways. I guess you've been coming on our show for like 8 years, and we've had some pretty interesting conversations about television and media, and now including streaming like Netflix and things like that. And I know you guys at the Parents Television Council are advocates for better TV, better viewing habits. But I got to ask you this question, Melissa. In light of your article and the statistics you're bringing us, are we losing the battle?
Well, I tend to be a pessimist in the short term, but an optimist in the long run. So I do think these things, it tends to be a pendulum, you know, and when it swings too far in one direction, social forces come to bear to bring it back toward the center. I think we're pretty far out at the far end right now. And so I think inevitably in the short term, social forces are going to start to push back on it to bring us back to the center. I pray that's the case anyhow.
I hope you're right. From your lips to God's ears, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Melissa Henson, Parents Television Council. You know, Melissa, I always love having you on. I mean, you are a guest that really stir me up. I mean, got to tell our audience that one time we had Melissa on, this is when we were just on radio, that she stirred me up so much I thought I went a little overboard and had to call her afterwards and apologize. But Melissa, we always appreciate you. Please tell our audience how they could follow your work and the work of the Parents Television Council.
Sure, you can find us online at parentstv.org. You can look for us on Twitter and Facebook and other social media sites. Just look for the Parents Television Council official page.
All right, Melissa Henson, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Drader. Don't go away. Ann and I will be back with more right after this break.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours. Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
And welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. And don't forget to like us, friend us, and follow us while we're still on Facebook and Twitter. People say, Rick, why don't you get off Facebook? Well, that's because I want to fight our battles on using their territory. Fight your battles on other people's, in other people's territory. Use them to get our message out as long as we can. Well, Ann Elizabeth, I wanted to talk with you, you being out there in California, you being a mother of 4 school-age children. I mean, the lunacy in California, and God bless, I love our viewers out there. But there are some crazy things that happen in California, and we always like to bring them up here on the Conservative Commandos radio show because we want to inform people about what's going on in their community and their areas. Maybe they don't know about, and maybe they want to pay a little bit of attention to. But the San Francisco School Board has voted to rename schools, to rename 44 schools. They want to change the names of schools, schools named after people like Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Edison. And there's you can go down this Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Herbert Hoover, Paul Revere. Strange name on this list is Dianne Feinstein. Little strange, but this idea of them wanting to change the names, you know, and there's enough that schools should be doing that. Really, should this be up there on the radar screen? Shouldn't they be concentrating on giving kids a better standard of learning rather than this ridiculousness of this political correctness of renaming schools?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Number one, there's California, which is already completely, I mean, people have lost their mind regarding the government of California and the decisions they make. But then there's San Francisco, which is a completely other level of insanity. But in regards to what you were talking about, you know, I think if 2020 proved anything, it was that ridiculous things are happening in all sorts of agencies that have really nothing to do with benefiting anybody but the government. So these are all initiatives that won't do anything for children or for the school system or for the townships even. They're just doing something for the government. And what this is aiming to do is, once again, erase history, because there's going to be another generation that comes along that won't learn these things about these people because they will have been removed. Dianne Feinstein has a little bit of a dent on her because it's something that she may or may not have been involved with. And this is just an easy way for them to erase it for her, and keep their good name of, I think the reason why they want to delete most of these people is because they were slave owners, which is tragic. But I think one of the ways that we can learn from history and not to repeat it is to learn from history. And you can't learn from history if we keep deleting it. So,
well, I think it goes far beyond being a slave owner. For instance, I know Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Herbert Hoover were not slave owners. Paul Revere, I'm not sure. Thomas Edison, I doubt he was a slave owner. But this thing about Dianne Feinstein, it goes back to, according to a 1984 copy of Workers' Vanguard, and I don't know what that was. When you get the word Workers' Vanguard, sounds like a communist publication or a union publication, that Dianne Feinstein raised a Confederate flag in San Francisco's Civic Center while she was mayor of the city. And but according to Free Beacon, the Washington Free Beacon, the allegation led to the school board to include the elementary school bearing Feinstein's name. Now, it's disputed whether this report coming from this Workers' Vanguard is actually true or not. But just the fact that her name was associated with the Confederate flag makes her one of the targets. Abraham Lincoln. Okay, Abraham Lincoln ran afoul of the committee despite his role in ending the practice of slavery in the United States because, quote, he did not demonstrate that black lives mattered to him. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. You're talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, that's a surprising one to me. Abraham Lincoln, I have a hard time with that one because, look, everybody knows that racism's disgusting. Racism's gross. Slavery was gross. It's all disgusting. The human condition of slavery is just, it's just disgusting. I mean, people have been enslaved through generations in different countries, and it's just, no matter what, it's disgusting. Abraham Lincoln, who fought to end slavery, I just can't imagine what they're trying to do by removing him, because he is such the post of the beginning of recognizing that slavery was wrong. And so why shouldn't we be revering him and naming more things after Abraham Lincoln? I don't understand why he is seen as a negative, somebody who's negative. I mean, he started the whole movement to end slavery. I mean, to me, that's heroic. So it's hard for me to understand this whole movement, other than the fact that they do want to erase history. They want to erase anything that has to do with conservative politics, being in support of ending any sort of racism. They want to pin, Republicans as these horrible people and Democrats as these amazing people, and they want to erase their racist background, and they want to erase the fact that we were never racist. And I think that's all what it comes down to. For me, that's what I think.
Also about Lincoln, it says Lincoln was also no friend to the American Indians, and that Lincoln's considerable achievements did not wash away his sins. This is a man who fought a civil war to keep the country unified. He also fought in part of the Civil War battle was to end slavery. He did not do enough. What about the blood of the 1 million Americans that died in that war? That was not enough. But this political correctness has some, obviously some friends, but it also has a lot of people upset. Many San Francisco parents, as well as the mayor, Lincoln Breed, argued that the effort was ill-timed, given the pandemic, the impact on children, especially students of color. In fact, that students are not even in schools subject to the renaming. Okay, again, we've got kids out of school. They're not even in these schools. How about a discussion about a discussion about the school names and the pros and cons. You know, everybody does good in their life. Everybody does bad things in their life. We could have a discussion about the good things they did. We could have a conversation about the bad things they did. That would be learning. Yeah. That would be learning. The other thing that I would like to know, these 44 schools, what are their new names going to be? In this committee.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, that this committee is going to have to come up. Who are the new names? George Floyd? You think George Floyd is going to be one of those names? How about that? Malcolm X? Barack Hussein Obama? Kamala Harris? A woman who started her political career by sleeping with Willie Brown? I mean, okay, maybe one of these schools is going to be Willie Brown, the Willie Brown High School, a man who admittedly used sex to entice people in order for them to promote their political future, like a Kamala Harris. I mean, where are they going to go with these names? Well,
we don't know what they're going to be then. I mean, I think we don't know. I think anything, guessing would be, we're just kind of assuming right now. But, I don't understand. I think that when you look at somebody like Senator Robert Byrd, who has bridges and buildings and streets named after him, and they haven't done anything of the sort to try to take those down. When he was an admitted Klans member for 11 years. He wasn't a Grand Dragon. Everybody always says he was. He was pretty high up, though. And then he comes out as a senator and, runs Democrat and then gives a pretty crappy apology. But, it's an apology. And so everyone accepts it. And all of a sudden he's this changed man. And,
well, because he's a Democrat.
It's all crap.
It is.
I know. He's the epitome of a Democrat because they're the party of the KKK. But
and then you have Hillary. And then you have Hillary Clinton says, well, she idolized him. Okay, but nothing said about it. She said that
he was her mentor. She said he was her mentor. But the thing is, if they delete him, then they have to admit that they were wrong and he was wrong. And then Hillary saying that he was her mentor looks bad on her. So there's a lot that goes into them removing his stuff because it would just look bad for them. But he was incredible racist, and so is Biden. The most racist president in recent history. That's President Biden. Most racist. He said, I don't want my kids going to school in a racial jungle. You ain't black. I mean, there's this, the crime bill. He's used the N-word, which my kids, if anybody that around me even mutters that in example, they would be grounded. Like, that's a word that is more horrendous than any other word in my opinion. It is grounds for there's no excuse to ever say that. I don't care if you're using it as an example or what the reason is. You do not say that word. And he has it in Congress where he's repeating that word over and over. I just think that he is, the Democrat Party has just been such a party of racism. All this is trying to delete their history.
I agree. And we got to go to a break, and I got something else I want to say about California schools after the break. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. Ann and I will be back with more right after this break.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC GRT has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Aunt Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. And love to hear from you. Always love to hear from our listeners and viewers. And there's an easy way to do that. A couple easy ways to do that. Send an email to me at auntv@yahoo.com. auntv@yahoo.com. Les from Thermalito, California emails me 2, 3, 4 times a week. Gail, she and I have been chatting back and forth on Facebook. That's the other way. Check me out on Facebook, and I'm still there, Rick Trader on Facebook. And before we went to the break, we were talking about this idiot idea of California or San Francisco is changing the name of 44 schools. Some of these quote-unquote controversial schools are named after Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Herbert Hoover, Paul Revere, Thomas Edison, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and we got some more craziness to talk about these California schools. And again, I wanted to get your opinion. You living in California, you being the mother of 4 school-aged children, that this is National School Choice Week. National School Choice Week. And a new study is finding that South Los Angeles charter schools have 37% more college-ready SAT taken students than comparable union-run schools. Now that sounds great. That sounds great. Until you get into the meat of this. Specifically, and again, this is in Los Angeles County, specifically 16.6 of the SAT takers at these charter schools met or exceeded both the math, English components of the California Department of Education's SAT, college, and career readiness. Hello, 16.6% in the charter schools? Well, that's great compared to the government-run schools, which is 12.1% of the SAT takers in comparable traditional school districts, including magnet schools. So 16% of the SAT takers in the charter schools met or exceeded in both math and English components of the California Department of Education's SAT college and career readiness benchmarks. That's deplorable. 16.6, 12.1 in the other government schools. And this is ridiculous. This just shows, in my opinion, how out of touch California and California education, the California education system is. We're in magnet schools or in charter schools. Only 16.6 of the kids are proficient in math, in English, when it comes to taking their SATs. And this is 37% better than the rest of government-run schools. Well, and maybe the problem is they're government-run. And I say this ad nauseum. Get your kids out of government schools. If you don't, you're doing harm.
Unfortunately, that's not a choice for a lot of people. I mean, that's why President Trump wanted to bring school choice. But you know, a lot of these areas don't offer other schools or other programs without a price. Charter schools fill up quickly, and there's really nothing else. You know, so I feel for people that are, you know, they don't have those options, which is why school choice. Well,
they do. They've got an important issue. They got Catholic schools, parochial schools, private.
Well, if you have money to pay for that. Sure. Well, if you have money, you can do anything.
Well, in the area that I'm in, it costs about $6,500 to send your child to a Catholic school. All right? Now,
that's very inexpensive comparatively.
Well, I know that for some parents, that may be out of the budget. But I think that if parents really cared, if they really cared about their kids getting a quality education, they would find that money somehow, somewhere within their budget. Okay? Mm-hmm. They would go out and get another job to make that extra $500 a month to put their kids in a better school, if it's that important. The problem is that we have given the responsibility of educating our kids over to government. It's part of the problem, man. As you said, school choice would be one option. President Trump wanted to do that. But every time you say school choice to the Democrats, oh, they and their union friends go bonkers. Why? It's cutting their power. It's cutting off the money that's going into government schools. Government schools are failing.
Yeah, they are, and it's what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. In most of these situations where you have someone like AOC who was very hard on school choice and talks about the public school system, and then she's found on video walking towards a charter school that she says she got her nieces into. So I mean, they're all hypocrites. There's no doubt about it. You know, more of the LA inner city schools, I think, probably don't have, you know, are more well known for, you know, not having as great of an education program. It's just a shame because there's 50 kids for one teacher. And I think this is where it comes down to, is just how understaffed and you know, supplied they are with just general supplies.
I think it's a misuse of the funds, you know, and I think that
no doubt about that.
There are plenty of funds to educate students. Two things. Number one, and I'll get your opinion on that. You know, I'm an expert at raising kids. It's because I don't have any. And so therefore I could look at things objectively. All right?
That's true.
Objectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're, again, in the area that I'm in, the average school district is spending $15,000 a year per student for education. The township I'm in, the school board budget is $75 million a year, and that's roughly for 4,000 students. Comes over $15,000 a year. I think that there's plenty of money there, Ann, but I think it's being misused. For instance, when you talk about a budget of $75 million a year, how much of that money is being spent in the superintendent's office? About $1 million. About $1 million a year of that $75 million is being spent in the superintendent's office between his salary, his benefit package, the assistant superintendent, the business manager, the assistant business manager, and their staffs. About $1 million a year is being spent right there in the superintendent's office. Now, I'm no expert on the Los Angeles School District, but I think that there's plenty of money there to be educating the students. Another thing that I think is important, it's being overlooked, especially when it comes to why students aren't being educated properly. I think it's a parental thing. That I believe in homes where an emphasis is put on education. Those kids, their educational experience, their outcomes are much, much better when parents are involved. When the parents make sure their kids go to school. When they make sure their kids do homework. When they are involved and they know what their school is doing and teaching, I think those kids will do better. Hey, Ann, I hate to do this. We are up against the break. I know I kind of went long on that, but you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. Ann and I will be back with more right after this short break.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Well, Lan, I want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host today, and I also want to thank our guest, Bryan Preston, for joining us, also Melissa Henson from the Parents Television Council. But Ann Elizabeth, tell our audience how they could keep track of what you're up to when you're not here on Conservative Commandos.
You can follow me on Facebook. I have a page, Ann Elizabeth, and on Twitter, I am Ann Elizabeth US, and on Instagram, I am Ann Elizabeth Smart Conservative or Ann Elizabeth SC. Sometimes my name has flip-flops. So, but right now it's Ann Elizabeth Smart Conservative, and there's a reason for that, which we can go into later. But on YouTube, I'm also Smart Conservatives. You can do hashtag Ann Elizabeth, hashtag Smart Conservatives. I haven't really updated my YouTube lately, though. I am hoping that Parler gets back up because I think that's going to be a place where I'm really going to enjoy being. I'm on MeWe, Ann Elizabeth. Basically, if you put in Ann Elizabeth or Ann Elizabeth SC or Smart Conservatives or something of those along those lines, you'll find me. But Twitter is probably my biggest platform right now.
But for right now, we're out of time. We got to run and we got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.